Right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we're taking a look at a pretty intense thought experiment, one that really forces us to figure out where the line is between public safety and, well, a complete dystopia. We're talking about the rapidly changing architecture of our cities, where everyday convenience and mass surveillance are basically running on the exact same hardware.
To set the stage here, think about the 2026 sci-fi thriller Mercy. It paints this horrifyingly efficient picture of the future, where a city's cloud network feeds every single detail of your life into an AI judge. And this AI? It's judge, jury, and executioner. You get a 90-minute trial and your fate comes down to a calculated guilt probability score. It is a terrifying concept, a world where ubiquitous recording and automated justice are just fused together.
Now, obviously that is Hollywood. If we contrast that cinematic nightmare with our actual reality, we thankfully don't have lethal AI judges instantly handing down sentences. Plus, our current systems are a lot clunkier, more of a messy patchwork of data silos than one all-knowing municipal cloud. But, and this is the crazy part, the underlying data gathering infrastructure that makes that movie's premise possible, it's absolutely already here.
So, to really understand what's fiction and what's fact, let's break down the anatomy of a modern smart city.
First off, what exactly is a total surveillance state? Simply put, it's a setup where being watched is just the default. We're not talking about a targeted wiretap on a specific suspect. We're talking about an environment where staying invisible takes active effort, incredible luck, or extreme privilege. It's the routine, everyday reconstruction of entire populations' movements.
And modern smart cities actually rely on a 4-layer architecture to do this. Think of it kind of like a massive digital nervous system. It starts out at the edge, the cameras on the street or the smart meters on your house. That data gets piped through the second layer, fiber and cellular networks. Then it hits layer 3, which is massive cloud platforms running AI. Finally, it bubbles up to the application layer, the actual dashboards that trigger police alerts or change traffic lights.
And we're not talking about some distant sci-fi future here. Right now, in cities like London, Hangzhou, and Singapore, you step outside and you're interacting with AI-powered CCTV looking for unusual behavior. There are automated license plate readers logging your commute. Your own smartphone is pinging your location, and biometric IDs are authenticating you. These are active, off-the-shelf products running today.
Now, looking at this completely impartially, this tech is inherently dual use. It's a double-edged sword. The exact same camera network that can flawlessly clear a traffic jam, optimize an ambulance route, or literally find an abducted child, that same network can be used to mass profile citizens, suppress protests, or build a permanent digital record of your life. The technology itself doesn't care how it's used.
Which brings us to the real issue here, the data fusion problem. Because the danger isn't really a single camera on a street corner.
It's what happens when completely harmless, isolated data points get stitched together. In privacy law, they call this the mosaic theory. Imagine your typical day. Your smart meter notes a power spike when you wake up at 8 a.m. You tap your transit card for the bus at 9 a.m. Your Bluetooth pings a coffee shop router at 1 p.m. And a camera scans your face near a public protest at 5 p.m. In isolation, totally trivial. Fused together, the system suddenly has a remarkably intimate profile of your habits, your friends, and your politics.
And here's the massive paradigm shift. Collecting all that data is no longer the bottleneck. Storage is basically dirt cheap now. The real power shift we're witnessing is the AI-driven ability to interpret that data at scale. We're talking about software that can churn through millions of hours of incredibly boring street footage to spit out actionable risk scores, all without a human ever having to sit and watch a screen.
So, if the hardware can be used to either rescue lost kids or silence dissidents, what's stopping the dystopia? It comes down to technology versus governance.
The difference between safety and oppression isn't in the tech, it's in the law. Identical camera systems will build completely different societies depending entirely on the rules that bind them. Weak governance gives you hidden error rates and data that's kept forever. But with strong governance, that exact same camera requires a strict warrant, undergoes independent audits, and gives you a legal right to challenge an automated decision. The law is the actual firewall.
And if we look around the globe, it is a total mixed bag. The European Union's AI Act is one of the strictest approaches, basically banning real-time public biometric tracking. Over in the US, it's this incredibly complex patchwork where one city completely bans facial recognition and the next one over encourages it. Meanwhile, China is deploying dense analytics hardware, and India is rapidly expanding its massive digital ID system, Aadhaar.
But no matter where you live, there's this sneaky little phenomenon called function creep that we have to watch out for. There's a saying, a camera justified by ambulances is still a camera. Function creep is that quiet, bureaucratic slide where a system bought just to manage traffic flow is slowly, bit by bit, redirected to track taxpayers or monitor political protests.
Because of that gradual creep, we don't have to guess about the future. We can look at the data today and project 3 highly realistic futures for the year 2040.
So depending on the legal paths we choose right now, here's what could happen. We could end up with scenario A, a privacy-protected city where the tech acts like a simple utility and live identification is super rare. Or we slide into scenario B, a surveillance-heavy city that's statistically very safe but psychologically exhausting because everyone is self-censoring. And then there's scenario C, a total surveillance state where your fused digital score automatically dictates if you can travel, work, or even step into public spaces.
The big takeaway from all our sources here is actually pretty profound. The technology itself is entirely neutral. The job of a free society isn't to go around smashing cameras or rejecting traffic engineering. The job is to meticulously bind that technology to the rule of law. We have to make sure that the system's knowledge stays limited, reviewable, and totally subordinate to human rights.
So as these smart city networks get more capable and more integrated into our daily lives, it really boils down to this one massive question. It's not about whether the technology can watch us, it's whether we will have the foresight to ensure we remain unwatched enough to actually be free.
The choices we make today about how our data is governed are literally writing the code for the reality we're going to live in tomorrow. If you want to dive deeper into how this technology and governance is shaping our future, for more, visit our website, Fair Solution.